Who learns about nutrition the easy way?
What ensures that dry, clean garments retain their buttons?
How would you go about weighing a steer?
Why is this man in no danger at all?
Industry on Parade, Peabody Award winner for public service, produced on film each week by the National Association of Manufacturers.
Worried about the rock and roll set and its sometimes perplexing ways of carrying on? Well, come with us to Ralph's Supermarket in Los Angeles, and you might find some of your fears put to rest. The youngsters, all teenagers, are members of a high school homemaking class who, for a couple hours, will make this supermarket their classroom, with its manager and his staff serving as temporary teachers. Breaking up into small groups, members of the class visit every department of the store, seeing practical demonstrations of what they've been learning in school about shopping for food. For example, the differences between eating or salad oranges and those more suitable for juice. The visitors learn ways of spotting really fresh produce and find out how changing seasons bring changing bargains. But they accept modern food distribution and packaging techniques pretty much as a matter of fact. Never having seen an open Cracker Barrel, they have to be told of the sanitary and quality-preserving aspects of today's containers. Another object lesson, the economies to be realized from buying the right quantities. Going behind the scenes, the students visit the refrigerator room, where meats are stored and cut, and here identified. It's really amazing the number of ways our food comes to us these days. Fresh, frozen, canned, dehydrated, vacuum packed, concentrated, ready mixed. These are refrigerated, ready to bake biscuits. Just one of scores of items that combine the utmost quality with the utmost convenience. Another field of research, finding ways of preparing the standard food products in new, tantalizing dishes, like banana pancakes. Back at Reseda High, the class coordinates its field trip findings with its regular studies. Pupils discuss things like can sizes, comparison of prices to weights, and above all, nutritional values. As their teacher points out, there are 6 daily food groups: milk and milk products, meat and fish, breads and cereals, fruits, vegetables, and sweets and fats in moderation. 17 magazine originated this program, and articles in the magazine point out ways of putting it into effect. In addition, food charts, study guides, and recipes are made available to home economics classes by the magazine, which also arranges nationwide visits to stores like the one we've just seen. And thus do the homemakers of tomorrow learn the many intricate crafts involved in what will become their life work. How many years hence will that be? Not as many as you might expect, for statistics show that almost 50% of all first brides are teenagers, with 500,000 persons under 20 setting up housekeeping every year. With their knowledge of things like tenderizers to upgrade less costly cuts of meat, and their other conscientiously acquired skills, it would appear that these youngsters will make out very well indeed. And when you get right down to it, that's true of the vast majority of our young people. Among this vast majority, the closest approach ever made to juvenile delinquency is an occasional high-spirited lapse in table manners.
Whether we realize it or not, America's economic system and individual freedom are inseparable. There can be no compromise between a free economy and a total state economy, because the restrictions placed upon our business system would endanger our political and personal freedoms as well as our economic freedom. Our freedoms are indivisible. Destroy one and you destroy all. We have learned since we became a free nation that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. It is our job to continually protect those freedoms which enable us to become the most powerful nation in the world.
Industry on Parade visits a Milwaukee dry cleaning plant long accustomed to receiving visitors. For in the trade, The methods and machines used here are regarded as models of efficiency. Each day, some 8,000 items are sorted and sent through machines like this one, designed to remove all odors. At other stages of the processing, spick and span dry cleaning relies on skillful hands. Spotters know how to analyze each stain and select the agent that will remove it. Men, women, and machines work together in this department, which presses trousers only, 2,000 of them each day. Coats are the special province of another group, which presses some garments from the inside on inflated forms. The overhead conveyor is fast, but not too fast for the trained eye of inspectors who examine everything and quickly return to the proper department any item that needs more attention. This coat is missing a button. It won't leave the plant without one, and a good match is sure to be found somewhere in the button library, containing more than 1 million buttons. The company's own engineers developed a piece of sorting equipment called the segregator. Operated by only one girl, it sorts thousands of items a day for 36 different delivery routes and branch stores. Dry cleaning is a business based on fast, efficient delivery. 5-hour service is the promise, and it's a promise which, thanks to ingenious machines and skillful men and women, is being kept by an industry helping to make Americans the best groomed people in the world.
Ranchers whose livestock roam the western ranges are as interested in the weight of the animals as they are in weather, for their income depends on it. But to weigh beef, you first have to catch it, and that's just the start of the problem. This company in Duncan, Oklahoma, helps the rancher solve his problem by devising portable scales, rugged enough to go out on the ranch to the cattle, instead of waiting for the livestock to be rounded up and shipped to market. Operated by brothers Claude and Adrian Paul, the plant turns out weighing devices on trailers easily pulled by tractor, jeep, or car. Experts said it couldn't be done, that a scale is too delicate an instrument to be hauled over bumpy roads and prairie dog holes. But the brothers came up with an improved device using a different principle. When they found the sharpened edges of traditional scales were easily damaged in transit, they simply tried a system of cables and bars. When tests showed it served the purpose, Paul's portable scale was born, and with it, a brand new business. In use on nearby ranches, the portable scale is ready to go to work less than 10 minutes after it's hauled into position. No complicated adjustments are required when the scale is moved from one pen to another or from ranch to ranch. So far, they haven't found one bull or steer too big for the device that weighs livestock wherever the livestock wanders. A rancher himself, and now an inventor and manufacturer as well, Claude Paul says his scale eliminates guesswork by giving cattle growers a way to spot unprofitable animals and cull them from the herd early. It started when rancher Paul himself went shopping for a portable scale and heard the experts say, impossible. He wouldn't believe them. And with one of the scales he invented having been pulled over more than 20,000 miles of rangeland, he thinks he's proved the experts were wrong.
American employees are better informed than their counterparts anywhere else in the world. Industry is constantly improving employee-employer understanding through face-to-face contacts, employee opinion polls, company publications, bulletin boards, and in-plant meetings. Each year, thousands of employees contribute to the suggestion system set up by management. Such a free and steady flow of facts and opinions, both to and from employees, helps bring about better understanding, cooperation, and harmony in working relationships.
Today, we can be attacked from the sky and from the sea with nuclear weapons. Should the enemy attack be spotted, our air defense will go into action immediately. At the same time, civil defense warns the nation. This is another part of our total national defense.
Here's a New Haven company that has helped make 3 generations of New England history. In the same location since 1870, the Greist Manufacturing Company, maker of attachments for home sewing machines, has over the years added new buildings and new products, but its personnel, while it also has increased, has remained remarkably stable. One reason for this has been an employee program which looks to workers' well-being on the job and off. Dr. Herman C. Klein, optometrist, is part of that program. An authority on industrial vision, he is in charge of an eye conservation program based on techniques as modern as the plant itself. By examining each worker and each job, he found 40% had visual problems in their work, though many of those in the group had 20/20 eyesight and others already wore corrected lenses. Studying each stage of the assembly process, the doctor uses a sensitive light meter that measures the level of illumination to pinpoint possible trouble. He orders more light, bigger reflectors, or relocation of light fixtures wherever necessary. Manufacture of cameras as well as sewing machine attachments puts demands on eyesight far different from those involved in driving a car, watching a movie, or reading a book. Since requirements of industrial vision and normal vision are so different, Dr. Klein not only checks the lighting, but studies each operation step by step. In this plant, the expert finds the average work is performed just 14 inches from the operator's eyes. Many persons with perfectly normal visual acuity can often be helped by glasses on these jobs. On others, the consultant recommends special protective goggles to block fumes that may be dangerous to the eyes. Through safety instruction and other encouragement, the company has scored a major victory in overcoming worker resistance to the wearing of safety goggles. That could have caused serious injury, perhaps blindness. At one time, before the company began issuing individually fitted and therefore comfortable goggles, Art McVetti here found safety goggles awkward and uncomfortable. Now at the company clinic, where he goes for a checkup to make sure his eye is all right, he has reason to thank the doctor whose pep talk on the use of goggles may have saved his eye. Complex testing equipment replaces the familiar eye chart. After work, as well as on the job, eye protection pays off with fatigue-free hours for learning and participation in other phases of the Greist employee program, like sewing classes and bocce ball with the boss, who counts, among other things, on safe and steady eyes to help him look ahead to continued industrial growth.